XRP ran 46% in 7 days and then stopped dead at $1.55. And 2 red closes later, the reading going around is that the bounce is turning into a bull trap. That reading is right there in the coverage. And the way that I read it, it has the complete XRP mechanism backwards. This is your XRP news desk. And XRP did not fall at $1.55. It ran into a line that was drawn for months before this rally even existed. By 4 months of selling, that had nothing to do with August. And once you know where that line comes from, the last 2 days stops looking like weakness and starts looking like math. 3 things today where that ceiling actually came from. The one number sitting under today's price that decides whether the whole August run keeps its floor, and that number is $1.43. I'll come back to it. And a comment window in Washington closes on October 20th, and that doesn't know the candle even turned red. If you'd rather have that level before you get the headline, subscribe and hit the like button. Start with the run, because the size of it is what everything else hangs off of. For the better part of April through July, XRP ground lower. It bottomed near $1 in early August. Then it went vertical, roughly 55% off that base, up to $1.65. And there's a way to check whether a move like that is real force or just noise wearing a trend costume. It's called the Average Directional Index. All it does is measure how strong a trend is without caring which direction the trend points. And on this move, it read 44.8, which the analyst behind it calls no weak bounce, but a strong directional leg. So that's the first number. XRP came off of $1, put 46% on the board in a single week, and the strength gauge agreed with it with a real leg rather than a squeeze. Hold on to that, because now we get to the number that explains everything else. Right now, the average price of XRP over the last 50 days is sitting below its average price for the last 200 days. Traders have a name for that, and it is genuinely silly. They call it a death cross. Sounds like a verdict, doesn't it? It isn't one. Here's what it actually is, and it takes honestly 10 seconds. A 200-day moving average is the last 200 days added up and divided by 200. That's the entire thing. There is no forecast in it, no opinion, nobody's institutional view, no filing behind it. It's a rear view mirror with a number painted on it. So what were the last 200 days of XRP? April, May, June, and July grinding lower all the way down to a bottom near $1. So the way that I read that $1.65 level, it isn't a line scared sellers drew last week. My read is it's a level 4 months of selling left behind, and those months ended before this rally started. The ceiling is older than that rally. Let me put it another way, because it's the whole video. XRP was not rejected by fresh money at $1.65. The way that I read it, it ran into its own history, into an average still built out of the months when XRP was grinding lower. And the piece I'm working from says the quiet part out loud, right in the middle of the bearish read. A death cross is a lagging signal. Lagging. It describes where you've been, not where you're going. And the August rally lifted XRP well clear of both of those lines before this pullback even started. So why does an average built in April get to stop anything in August? On its own, it doesn't. My read is that it stops things because enough people are watching the same rear view mirror at the same moment and acting on it together, which makes a backward-looking number behave like a forward-looking one for exactly as long as the crowd keeps staring at it. And this is a very different thing from XRP being weak. One of those is a fact about an asset. The other is a fact about the people standing around it. If that reframe helps the last 2 days, let me know in the comments which level gives first, $1.65 or $1.43. I'd love to hear your side. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there. Now the third number, and this one cuts against me, so let's take it seriously instead of stepping around it. The relative strength index on XRP reads around 76. That gauge runs from 0 to 100. Anything above 70 is called overbought. Below 30 is called oversold, and 76 is stretched to the upside. It's a warning that the recovery ran hot. It's not a green light. And XRP didn't run hot into a vacuum. This same week, the crypto market flipped out of fear and greed for the first time since 2024, and XRP rode that wave hard. So is 76 a top? No, it's really a temperature, but put the pieces together and the bear case builds itself, and it is a real one. A market at extreme greed, an asset at 76, a death cross still active underneath, a medium-term structure still pointed down. Under that stack, the bear case is lower. That's what they're pushing for, a drift back towards $1.43 before anything else gets decided. And that's exactly what the analysts I'm reading concludes. Does any of this make the bears right? Not quite. And here's the seam. That case needs two things to be true all at once. It needs a lagging average to work as a forecast, which is the one thing its own definition says it cannot do. It needs 76 to be an ending rather than a condition. Momentum calls two ways. Prices fall or prices go flat and lets the clock do the work. Nothing in a 76 reading tells you which of those you're getting, and anybody who says it does is selling you something they don't even know. So where does this leave XRP right now? You can see the price is trading at $1.43, down slightly on the day, with about $3.9 billion changing hands in the last 24 hours. The last daily candle opened at $1.48 and closed at around $1.45. The second straight down day, and among the top 10 names pulling back, XRP's drop was one of the smallest. I'm not going to oversell that. It's a small thing, but a shallow drop is not what a falling knife looks like. Which brings me to the two numbers I promised. And honestly, these are the two worth carrying around today. Above $1.65, reclaim that, and we could push above to $2 and higher. And we have a floor below $1.43. A daily close under that level puts the $1.40 shelf back in play. And behind that sits $1 where the whole thing was started. That's a condition attached to the upside case, and it's honestly worth knowing because it's the part that gets skipped. For $1.65 to give way, two things need to happen together. The squeeze momentum has to fire, and the RSI has to cool without the price breaking down underneath it. That second half is the whole trick. Momentum coming off the boil while price holds its ground in one thing. Momentum coming off the boil because price collapse is another. And which of those two gets decided at $1.43? So what actually breaks the August run? One number, and it's not the ceiling. $1.43. The ceiling has already been explained. It's a fossil from back in April, but the floor is the only line still undecided, and it's the one I'd have in my head today. None of this is about your money. I read the documents and I tell them the way that I read them. And here's the thing the candle cannot see. While XRP spent 2 days giving back some gains, the SEC had a proposed rule sitting open in the Federal Register called Regulation Crypto Assets, published on August 21st. It would create 2 exemptions from registration, one up to 5 million across 4 years, one up to 75 million every 12 months. And it carries a conditional safe harbor from the term investment contract. Investment contract. That's the exact phrase the whole asset class spent years in court over. Comments on it closed on October 20th. I'm not going to tell you that rule was written about XRP specifically, because it wasn't, and I'm not putting words in the regulator's mouth. What I'll say is that the machinery never stopped. Nasdaq's options exchange had a filing published in the Federal Register on August 13th, setting listing criteria for options on trusts that hold digital commodities. A fund company called Granite Shares put a filing in at the SEC on the 25th, the same day XRP slightly closed red, and XRP is named in it. The XRP Ledger sat at a validated ledger over 106 million this morning, counting all the way through it. So what does a holder actually do with a comment window? It's nothing dramatic, and I'm not about to send anybody to a government portal, but October 20th is a real date with a real consequence attached to it, and it sits a long way past every level I've named today. That's the point I want to leave with you. The chart is arguing about $1.43 this week. The rulebook is being written for years that haven't happened. That's the gap, and it's the gap this desk exists to close. A price move is a 2-day story. Paperwork is a 2-year story. The chart stalled at a level I read as backwards looking. The calendar has a date in October, and only one of those two is actually about the future. So here's where I land. The bounce did not fail. It ran into a number that 4 months of selling left lying around, at a moment when the whole market was greedy and momentum gauge was stretched. And both of those conditions resolve with time just as easily as they resolve with price. XRP came from $1. It's right now at $1.43. The line that stopped is a rear view mirror. If this changed how you read the last 2 days, hit the like button, subscribe, stack facts, not fear, and I'll see you in the next video.